Guys have these incredible illusions about women, and they're so pathetic if you think about it. But it's understandable. It's actually natural because it's the way men think. Let me give you an example of men's foolishness. When I was a young guy, I dreamed of being a published author. And I wrote a book, and I actually managed to get it published. I got several books published. But the thing is, see, this goal, which was exceedingly difficult, it was like a Mount Everest, right? When I finally achieved it, it was like, no big deal. Yeah, it didn't fill me with the elation that I thought it would fill me. I had this illusion in my head, this notion that once I reached that mountaintop, once I reached that incredibly difficult goal, it would be like nirvana. I would feel just so fantastically good. I would feel like ecstatic. I would feel ecstatic. Yes, that's what I thought. I thought that the second my book was published and sitting there at the Barnes & Noble or whatnot, I would feel ecstasy. And of course I didn't. I didn't feel ecstasy, not one little shred of it. I actually saw a pyramid of my books in hardcover at a Barnes & Noble near where I lived. And it was like, big deal. So what? Yeah. And that was actually a huge lesson for me, and it was something that really shocked me. And I can pinpoint the start of my collapse of my career as a published author to that moment, because it was not that big of a deal. It just didn't make me feel ecstatic. It made me feel sort of like indifferent. And why am I bringing this up? It's because all guys, when we dream about some objective, from some Everest that we have, that we look at from afar, and we strive towards it, we work so hard to reach it. As we go, we idolize it. We idolize it in the sense of turning it into an idol, and idealize it in the sense of turning it into some sort of ideal. We think that it's going to be fantastic. We think it's going to be better than it actually is, and we think that it's going to make us feel better than it actually will make us feel. And of course, we need that in order to pursue this goal. If we didn't think this, if we didn't have this illusion about that particular goal in the distance, then we wouldn't be able to reach it. And we would just give up. Yeah, because most goals, most things in life are difficult to achieve. As simple as that, really. And so, in order to achieve some great goal, you have to create illusions for yourself, especially men. Men are constitutionally, from birth, genetics, evolution, whatever you want to call it, we are constituted to pursue great goals, unlike women. Women want to feel certain ways, but men want to achieve certain things. And in that achievement, in that striving to achieve, often we lose heart. And as we lose heart, what happens is that to compensate, we start looking at that goal as if it's magical. And that's what happens with us and women. We don't have a woman, and we want a woman, and we pursue her. We view her as our Everest, that thing to achieve, that goal to strive for. Getting some woman, some attractive woman that we fancy, that we think is great, and we make all this effort to achieve her, to get her. Get her into our lives, get her into our bed, get her into our create a family with her and whatnot. And what happens is that we are inevitably disappointed. We're disappointed, of course, because the woman that we finally get, the mountaintop that we finally achieve, that Everest, well, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. And we get that girl finally, and we discover that, yeah, she's gorgeous from afar. She's gorgeous in a picture, right? But, up close and personally, she's got kind of like bad breath. And she's kind of annoying, and her jokes aren't funny, and she's kind of ignorant. And actually, now that I think of it, she's kind of stupid. I mean, like stupid, like low IQ points. And you start feeling incredibly disappointed in the girl. Yeah, a lot of guys, of course, never achieve the girl of their dreams. They never achieve her, they see her in a distance, and, they fall for sour grapes. Sour grapes, from Aesop's fable. The fox was constantly trying to jump and grab the grapes that were hanging just beyond his reach. And the fox finally, just exhausted, gave up and said, oh, they're probably sour anyway. That's sour grapes. A lot of men who don't get that girl of their dreams think that. They think, oh, that girl that's just out of my reach that I can't get because I think that I'm not smart enough or handsome enough or this or that or not or social enough. I can't reach her, and therefore, oh, she's probably this, that, the other, and blah, blah, blah. That's sour grapes. That's a different problem. I'm talking about the guy who actually gets the girl of his dreams. Yeah, a couple of times when I was living in New York, I was in my early 30s, and I got really hot women. And a couple of times, striving to get these very attractive women, I tended to idolize them. I tended to idealize them. I tended to think that they were going to be fantastic. And when I finally got them into my life and into my bed, they weren't any kind of great shakes. On the contrary, they were kind of pathetic. Yeah, your illusions as a man can play against you, and you got to be careful about it. You got to realize and be realistic about any goal that you might have. I mean, on the one hand, you do want to idealize some goal that you might have in the distance so as to strive towards it and set aside your tiredness, your exhaustion, the difficulties in the journey to reach that Everest. I mean, you do need your illusions, but you have to be careful with your illusions. Your illusions can turn on you like a knife and stab you really badly. Yeah, because there's nothing more disappointing that you chase some girl, you know, for God knows how long, and you spent money on her and you convinced her and you played incredibly tight game, and you got her where you wanted to get her, right? And then you realize, oh man, what did I do? I say you marry this girl. You marry her and you have a couple of kids with her. What then? Yeah, you're stuck with her. You're stuck with her and you don't like her. And you realize that who you thought she was isn't who she was. It was just in your own head. You weren't looking at her. You were looking at the image in your head. Carl Jung has a whole chapter, a whole book, a whole series of books actually about this phenomena, you know, the anima animus complex. Check it out. But the point, we men do this all the time and we are perennially disappointed. Yeah, because we fail to be realistic. And it happens also, see, that you achieve some goal. And once you achieve it, you know, the achievement itself, not the goal, but the achievement makes you feel sort of like ecstatic. You feel just like, I got it. I got the goal, whatever the goal is, okay? You know, publishing a book or finding some hot girl or whatever, right? And you have that goal and you hold on to it and you don't really examine it. You don't look at it. You're like, oh, I got it. I got it. I got the goal, you know? So who cares what it's really like? I got this jewel. You know, maybe this jewel is made of zirconium, right? And it's actually not, you know, $1 billion diamond. It's just, you know, a $20 bit of rock, right? But at the moment of achieving it, it was so hard to achieve that you don't examine it. That's the mistake. The mistake is not examining it. You have to do that. The second you achieve the goal be it, you know, publishing the book or getting the new job or getting the hot girl, you got to examine it and see if it was worthwhile. And if it wasn't worthwhile, then you have to look at yourself real hard and say to yourself, do I want to hold on to this or do I want to let it go and pursue some other mountaintop, some other Everest? You have to do that. Yeah, because if you don't, you know, you'll wind up being in a situation that doesn't really make you happy. You'll wind up with a woman that you kind of like hate and despise. Or you'll wind up in a job that you hate and makes you miserable. I mean, this happens all the time in all facets of life. It's not just women, okay? And it's something that we men, we fall for this trap. And it's a trap of our own making. Our illusions are so necessary, but they are so dangerous. So examine your illusions. Examine them. Make sure that once the thing is achieved, it was really worthwhile. And if it wasn't worthwhile, if the girl turns out to be kind of like dopey and pathetic, I mean, yeah, attractive, hot, and all the rest of it, and all your friends like look at her and like, you know, nudge you and say, well, way to go, but you know, she's not really all that. On the contrary, she's kind of like annoying, then don't be afraid of letting go. That's the thing. Let go of your illusions. And if you capture that Everest, good on you, but realize that once you capture that Everest, it really gives you the tools to capture the next Everest. And the one that you have captured, it might not really be worth it. And if it's not worth it, if you hand to heart examine it and realize, nah, it's not worth it, then just toss it over your shoulder and go on to the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And go check out my Patreon, because on Patreon I can do the videos that I can't do on YouTube. YouTube is on this censorship streak, and I am certainly on their target list. The fact is, my channel at some point in the not too distant future is going to be deleted, so I would suggest that you download the videos of mine that you enjoy. And if you want to see more of my content, I have over 140 videos, 150 videos at this point on Patreon. Go check it out. Link is in the description below. Thanks so much, and I will catch you next time.